Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Durbanites FPL Game Week 31 review, Game Week 32 preview. Let's start as usual with the table. A couple of big moves here, big points this week 87 and 84. The only people that are moving are those that absolutely crushed this week. Ami and Hassan doing really, really well. The title is still up for grabs, very, very close. Fataliteam holding on for the 14th week at the top. 13 in a row now, just 5 points adrift is Onana, and then after that Adora, and then the rest of the trailing crowd. Still a battle at the bottom as well, so anything can happen. Another 6 weeks to go. Now, looking at the player selections for this week, still just 4 staples. A big disappointment for 9 out of 10 managers. Bukayo Saka not playing this week against Luton. Something happening there with the injuries, but William Saliba did play and did score for them. Alfonso Areola is now injured, so we're going to see this number drop big time. And lucky 7 out of 10 managers putting in Cole Palmer, who pulled out a last-minute hat-trick against Manchester United. Now, looking at the differentiators for this week, Ryan Ednouri and Alexander Zinchenko, these ones with Martin Odegaard, just selected by 1 out of 10 managers, each one of them scoring 8, 9, and 10 points respectively. And then the youngster Alejandro Garnacho, just 2 out of 10 managers having him coming in with 2 goals in that game against Chelsea, doing really, really well. Alexis McAllister is on amazing form, still only 2 out of 10 managers choosing him, but he has been scoring regularly now and becoming a real powerhouse in midfield. And Alexander Isaac, also 3 out of 10 managers trusting him in the forward line. He's now scored in 4 consecutive matches in the Premier League, and with Newcastle's fixtures set to go, definitely a pick that you want to be looking at. Now, looking at the hits and misses this week, of course, 2 massive hits here. So from the midfield maestros, 2 teams putting up 60 plus points. From the midfield, largely due to captaining Palmer and then having Foden in the team as well. So Ami and Hassan, definitely a good call out there. Hassan, though, doing it without Palmer and Foden as captain, but rather having Garnacho and Odegaard in that midfield. So really, really doing well in his selections. And then calling out the others that managed to pull out the Foden and Palmer double, which is Zai and Azra, both of them picking up 40 plus points just from those 2 plays. An amazing, amazing setup there. Then just 1 miss for everybody that had Bukayo Saka. Indeed, so a call here for a sack out, everyone getting 0 points for that, and then also causing a lot of trouble for the captaincy where he was put as captain. Now, looking at our best possible selection based on the players that we chose this week, a really, really good selection. So Neto at the back picking up 7 and Pickford being the reserve keeper. But then looking at Etnuri, Saliba, White and Zinchenko, that Arsenal defense is formidable and racking up a lot of points for the managers that are trusting them. But how's this midfield? Everybody in double figures this week. Garnacho, Palmer, Foden, Odegaard, McAllister. That is massive. Looking at about 80, 90 points coming out of midfield for this team, and Isak, the lone striker, nobody else could match up. A pretty weak bench. Pickford with 3, Muniz with 2, Morris with 2, and Roslev with 6. Couldn't make it onto the pitch. That would have given us 140 points this week and 153 with a bench boost, but a total of 86.1 only for this team. The youngsters really, really coming through. Garnacho, Palmer, Foden, really doing well here, and McAllister as well. Look at those budget picks, picking up big scores here. So quite an affordable team, and one that looks in really good form for the end of the season as well. Now, looking at the fixture ratings for the weeks coming ahead, some very interesting things happening. This week, just a few teams that have some really good run-ins in the next 3 weeks. Burnley, definitely not one that is, let's say, lighting up the league. They're, of course, in relegation, but they're fighting hard. You'll see that we've also called out Brun Larsen, who's been scoring for them. Definitely one to watch. And then you're looking at Chelsea, who are now in great form as well and looking to try and finish the season on a high. Cole Palmer's definitely going to anchor them there. They've got Sheffield United up next and then Everton before facing Arsenal. But Arsenal, let's see how that works out for them. But at least another 2 good weeks for the Chelsea team. And then looking at City, of course, they've come up of quite a heavy run, but now they've got Crystal Palace and Luton in 2 weeks back-to-back before going to Brighton. West Ham are also in fairly good form. They've got Wolves, Fulham, and Crystal Palace coming up, so quite a good run for those that have the players from West Ham. And then for Wolves, of course, not in the best form, but they do have West Ham this week, then Notts Forest before a double game week in 34. So one you might want to consider, especially if you have the issue with the funding. So Wolves has a lot of good players at a cheap price. Now, looking at the ones to be cautious with, Brighton have a tough 3 game weeks ahead. Arsenal and Man City, 2 out of those 3, not admirable. Then you're looking at Brentford, who've got Aston Villa this week before having a chance to play against Sheffield United and Luton, so maybe an option there for them to move away from relegation. Crystal Palace, quite a tough one. City and Liverpool back to back before Newcastle in a double game week. Definitely not one that I would look at. Liverpool have a tough one at Manchester United going back to Old Trafford this week, where they lost 4-3 in dramatic fashion in the FA Cup quarter-final. Question is, will they be out for revenge or will it be a repeat? That's why we're not really recommending it this week, but after that, another fairly good run ahead. United, for the same reason, taking on Liverpool after this loss to Chelsea, they might be demoralised. It was quite a heavy defeat to happen in the last minute of the game, but they have won against Liverpool before. Liverpool are the old enemy, and this usually sparks the game. So no recommendations for there, but of course, definitely one to look at. Now, looking at Notts Forest, they've got Spurs this week, so it's going to be a tough game for them. But then Wolves and Everton. So again, just for this week, we're cautioning against looking at these team players, but there are enough to choose from the green teams. Looking at the players individually in the back line, so many injuries to goalkeepers currently. We've got Becker out from Liverpool. Sanchez is doubtful, but he is back for Chelsea. But Pope, Areola, and Edison, all of them, out. Edison may be looking to come back as well, and Areola to West Ham is a big knock. But at the same time, Fabianski is not a new kid on the block. So he's a really, really good choice if you want to bring him in for this good run for West Ham. Neto from Bournemouth is a good pick for this week. And Pickford from Everton, seeing that they're going to take on this week Burnley, I think he's probably a good pick and probably want to get some points. Looking at the defenders as well, a lot of issues here. So Alexander-Arnold is still out for Liverpool, probably only coming back towards the end of April. Botman from Newcastle, Trippier is now not doubtful. He is definitely out, and that's going to be a big blow to Newcastle. Walker and Ake out for Manchester City. Not sure how that's going to impact them. They've got a lot of depth in defense. They've got Guardiola as well, Ruben Diaz. They definitely have options there. Akanji there as well. But these are 2 influential players that are going to be out. But looking at picks for this week, you might want to look at the Spurs pairing of Romero and Pedro Porro, both of them doing really well. Spurs maybe not so much at this moment in time, but don't forget that these guys are also able to score. Then you're looking at Scar for Newcastle, who's again another goal-scoring defender, and Stones and Akanji from Man City. So Stones again playing in that inverted wingback role, so he has a chance to score, and he has scored in recent weeks. Then, of course, Arsenal's big three at the back: Ben White, William Saliba, and Gabriel. They are doing really well. I haven't put in Zinchenko because he's not been playing regularly, but of course, that might be an option for you as well. Then moving into the midfield, Hichan from Wolves is looking to make his comeback, but he is still doubtful this week. Sinisterra is out for Bournemouth, and Olise out for Crystal Palace. Jota is still missing from Liverpool, but they are not missing him. They have a lot in midfield right now. Neto is out for Wolves and Mitoma for Brighton. Both of these are most likely only coming back for the last games of the season, if that. Saka from Arsenal is doubtful, but considering he didn't play in the last week, there are chances that he might be able to play this week. And then Richarlison is definitely out from Spurs. Now, looking at the picks, you cannot go wrong with Cole Palmer right now. He's in stunning form for Chelsea. They have good games coming up in the next 2 weeks. You might want to also look at Raheem Sterling and Mykhailo Mudryk. Both of them are in pretty good form, but Sterling maybe not so much. But definitely, if you're looking to bolster up your Chelsea selection. For Manchester City, Phil Foden, again, the youngsters are really doing it here. He's definitely got to be a pick to come into the team, and Rodri is also doing well as a supporting role from that side, so you might want to look at that. Jared Bowen from West Ham just recently got their best haul for a West Ham player in a league season with 20 goal involvement, so he's on a super high. And Stefan Brun Larsen from Burnley, so again, calling him out this week. I called him out last week. He did score. There's a very good chance that he could score against Everton this week as well, so definitely put him in that selection. Then, of course, from Arsenal, noted that Saka is doubtful, but if he does play, he's also one that can get 1 point. A very strong midfield selection there: Saka, Odegaard, and Rice. I've not put in Havertz and Martinelli because they're not getting the game time and goals that we expect. Now, looking at Newcastle, again, their good run continues, and Anthony Gordon is back from his suspension, and Harvey Barnes has been banging in goals as well. So that's our call out from Newcastle. Looking at the Spurs lineup, of course, Heung-min super expensive. Spurs are going into a tough patch, so this might be the last chance for those that want to get some points out of Son. After that, there's a lot of fixtures that are tough, and then those that are winnable, so he might be a bit of an expensive choice to keep on the team. And then Brennan Johnson, who's also been doing really well from the wing, might be one that you want to consider into your setup. And now just one call out here from Sheffield United. I know they don't have the best run coming up, but they do have a fairly good run coming to the end of the season. But Ben Brereton Diaz has been doing amazing. He really pulled back the game against Fulham, almost single-handedly involved in all of the 3 goals that managed to get them a point. And as Sheffield are looking to fight off relegation, their last chance to stay away from relegation, he's probably going to go all out, if not to keep them up, but at least to get a good contract and transfer in the summer period. So one to watch out for, again, especially if you are strapped to try and bring in more expensive players, then you definitely want to look at a cheaper option like Brereton Diaz, who could really help. Now, looking at the forwards, of course, this has been the toughest selection the entire year. Watkins from Villa is really doubtful, so chances are he might not play. Villa this week are taking on Brentford, and they might rely on their midfield to actually do the work for them. So just watch for that. Callum Wilson is definitely out from Newcastle, as is Awoniyi and Ferguson from Brighton. The youngster is also out after having some good goal scoring from early in the season. Looking at the picks, so the Bournemouth pairing of Solanke and Semenyo, depending on where you want to go, they have Luton this week, so a chance for them to get some goals on the board. Muniz from Fulham, he's been on great form. They're taking on Newcastle. Newcastle themselves have defensive issues, of course, with Pierre out and Botman out. So there's a chance, and of course Pope is out, so Dubravka is in between the sticks. So Muniz might be able to get a goal even if Fulham are not winning that game. For Liverpool against Manchester United, Darwin Núñez is one of those players where even if he's not on great form, he does have this kind of talismanic setup where in a tough game, he's the one that can often come in and make the difference. So that's why we're calling him out this week. Alexander Isak, I cannot say any more. 4 games in the Premier League back-to-back with goals. I think he's got 5 goals in 4 games, so he's on excellent form currently. And then Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea, again, just considering that Chelsea and Newcastle probably have the best run-in of games towards the end of the season, you've got to think about who would score. And aside from Cole Palmer, of course, Nicholas Jackson is one of the premier forwards to put in. The other one to call out here is Cunha. So Matheus Cunha is coming back from injury. He had 4 weeks out after a fantastic run of goal-scoring form. He then, of course, got injured and last week played only 19 minutes of the game just to give him some match fitness. However, Wolves are also coming in with a fairly good run of 2 games before they take on Arsenal, and chances are that this forward could do it for you this week. And then Manchester City, with a good run coming up, you just cannot discount Erling Haaland. He's far too good to leave out. So for those that have the money in the bank, you might want to consider bringing him in. He's not been on the most prolific scoring, but you just have a feeling, at least I do, that he's going to start breaking that duck. And when he does, it's just going to be the floodgates opening. So another one to consider if you have the cash to do that. So that's what we have for this week. Really quick game weeks happening now. Another one starting on Saturday. So I expect after the weekend that we'll get another update. It's really crunch time now. We're going to game week 32. After that, there's just 6 more game weeks before the season is over. Let's see how it all pans out. Good luck to everyone, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for now.